All right, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Team Gravity's Fight Night number 6, brought to you by Team Gravity and Sports. My name today is Rob DeLuca, or Shadow, and I am joined by none other than LZ Gamer.
Greetings. How's everybody doing today?
I'm sure everyone's doing great. This is a little bit early for us. Normally we start in the evening, but seeing as how we have European players, that's
Right.
not, yeah.
Can't really do that.
No.
Of course, the European match isn't actually going to be until the end, right? It's going to be the finale.
Yeah, indeed.
So, I mean, if all these matches go, a long time, it could be quite a while. It could still be a really late time for him, like probably 2 a.m. or something.
Well, that's normal playtime, right?
Well,
For
for a gamer,
StarCraft 2
that's true.
player?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when it past midnight is when it actually gets to be like good hardcore practice. It's been like that for pretty much ever, though, so it's not too different. But our first match today is going to be Serenity from Gravitas Gaming versus Guitarcheese. Of course, I don't know why he has Terran selected, because he is a Zerg player, or he's been off racing me a whole lot on ladder.
You've had a chance to play him on ladder?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I played everybody that's going to be in these show matches today on ladder multiple times, so I'm pretty familiar with all the players. Does look like the countdown is started, so we're going to jump right into the first game.
Let's see. Looks like we have our usual chat fans already. So, have you had a chance to really analyze the way Serenity plays, or have you just
No,
played him a few
I
times?
just met him a couple times on ladder. Nothing more than just a normal game, or nothing that just stood out in my mind where he just blew my mind with some kind of strategy or a certain type of play style. Like there's certain players that you'll play and be like, this guy cheeses me every time I play him. But I
Like
never got
rough?
that vibe. Yeah, like rough. Like, I know when I queued up against him, I better be looking for a proxy racks, at like 6 supply. So right off the bat.
Indeed. And what about Guitarcheese? I'm not really familiar with him. Have you had a chance
Okay,
to?
so the thing about him is like his name is really deceptive because you expect him to be like a cheeser a lot, right? I mean, it's in
Mhm.
his name, so that's what you would expect. But he's actually a really standard playstyle. Like he really plays nothing but macro games from all of my times watching him in just random qualifiers and other tournaments.
Yeah, it is interesting. Kind of curious
It is.
how he got the name Guitarcheese.
Yeah, I can't even answer that. I have no earthly idea. All right, so why don't you kick us off and go introduce our players?
All right, well, speaking of Guitarcheese, spawning in the top left corner, Belshir Vestige playing as Zerg, it is Deimos' Guitarcheese. And spawning in the bottom right, representing Team Gravity, this is his third show match now on the Fight Night. Playing Protoss, it is Serenity.
So you said this is his third show match. Who else has he played?
Killing me.
Uh-oh. Put you on the spot.
Yeah, I honestly I don't remember now.
Got
We've had this is a 6 fight night. We've had a lot of players, so you'll have to forgive me. I don't remember.
Totally understandable. Totally understandable. But all right. So getting into this game, we can
Hold on a
already
second.
see-
I just
What's up?
noticed this graphic right in the middle. Good job, guys. You
Oh,
see
wow,
that? The little
yeah,
boxing glove?
yeah, that's pretty neat.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
you were
really
saying.
like all these. Well, yeah, I really like how all these type of maps really work. Like, it's pretty cool that you can put your team's emblem on them and stuff now. Like, we've come a really long way from day one of StarCraft.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we have.
it's pretty awesome. It does look like that Serenity has decided to go for a regular like gateway opening. He has grabbed both gases though, so that's something to tell you that he's not planning on going for a really fast like 4 gate or something like that.
Right.
So just really interested to see what type of style he goes for. Most Protoss players on this map actually like to do lots of 2-base play. It's a really good map for a lot of 2-base all-ins. It's hard for Zerg to get good concaves just by the way the map is laid out and designed. Force fields are just really strong in all these little choke points.
Indeed. And it really suits Serenity's style. He's a very strong 2-basing Protoss. Yeah, I've seen him many a game win just with 2 bases. Which, of course, you would expect that from all Protoss, but he in particular is really good at it.
Definitely. We do have Guitarcheese actually going for a really fast gas. Now this is what most players do when they know they're playing up against a versus like gateway opening, because this allows them to grab that really fast Zergling speed and to deal with any type of harass or pressure that comes their way. So it almost is a counter to this style. But it does look like that we have that forward pylon already by Serenity, looking like he wants to take his expansion. But he's actually chrono boosting a lot of stalkers. Now I don't really understand why you would do this. It's delaying his expansion by quite a bit for quite a big risk. It does look like it is going to at least get him an Overlord though, so that's, it's not for nothing at least.
Yeah, that's actually a nice pickoff. It's not something you normally see against Zerg versus Protoss.
Yep, and the Overlord does go down. Still no expansion. He's at 500 minerals at the moment. Finally, the expansion does go down. So this is going to... yeah, this is definitely not going to be a super aggressive build here from Serenity. He's definitely thrown down the Forge. So this definitely looks like he wants to go into more of a macro-oriented type of game with upgrades and everything else.
Wow, 2 Overlords. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's quite a blow. It's nothing worse than being supply blocked for about 5 minutes, just trying to get Overlords up. Like, it's a terrible feeling. Like, it's a demoralizing feeling being Zerg, and everything, you just have all this larva just stacked up because you have to wait on these Overlords to rebuild. It's a frustrating feeling for sure.
Indeed. And in the meantime, it looks like Guitarcheese is going to poke a little bit here with these Zerglings.
Yeah, these Zerglings aren't going to get too much work done, especially once that Mothership Core does come back into the fray. Protoss has a lot of ways just to keep walling this off. As you can see, 2 more pylons is thrown down here, and even another gateway to help wall this off. So all these Zerglings are really only going to get 1 canceled gateway and 1 stalker. I don't think that was worth it at all for as many larvae as he put into those Zerglings.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's not so much the minerals he lost, it's the larva.
Third base is up and running from Guitarcheese.
Yep, and at the same time we have weapons level 1 upgraded, almost done for Serenity. Not surprising considering he put the Forge down so early.
Right. And that's what people see. Anytime Zerg's players scout that there's a really fast Forge like that, they know that they have to go into some type of roach play or even some kind of quick lair with spine crawlers, because Zerglings alone isn't going to be able to hold off the chance of aggression. So if he does do like Mass Warp and Zealots, Zerglings are just not going to cut it, which is why we do have the Roach Warren just finishing right now for Guitarcheese, so we'll probably be seeing some Roaches come out really quickly from him. In fact, we don't have any Roaches coming out right now. We do have +1 weapons, though.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's planning on it. We might actually see Hydras, too, because the layer's halfway done.
Yeah, it's possible. He's going to have to add a lot more gases to really go Hydra Roach. 3 gases is not going to cut it. We do have the first Zealots now walking towards Guitarcheese. The Queens do see it. They're reacting to it to start the little dance, but a drone is already taken down. It does look like he's losing some economic damage no matter what. Zerglings coming to reinforce, but those Zerglings are not going to do anything to contest these Zealots. And now we even have the Mothership Force, so if you thought it was bad before, now it's way worse. This third base is being targeted down. The first Roach is now coming onto the field. This third base is definitely going to be a goner, and he still has enough energy to mass recall back.
Yeah, this is beautiful for Serenity. I mean, he can recall at any point, or he can just keep pushing, and the moment he feels unhappy with the situation or that he's scared, he can just get out of there, and this is completely worth it for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I actually would have just pulled back a long time ago. He's not going to get a very good value for that trade versus roaches. Roaches are too good at kiting, especially on creep versus zealots, to get any kind of satisfaction or bang for your buck. But it does look back home. It does look like Serenity added 2 more gases. Hasn't just started mining from them. But you know, yeah, he killed the third base, but
Yeah, it
he
was a
saved
little
all
sloppy.
the drones.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it was a little sloppy losing the core and all the zealots there. Yeah, it was probably just a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, I kind of agree. There was no reason to lose the zealots. Like, just imagine, you know, this is obviously going to be like a, you know, there's going to be another follow-up punch here from Serenity, but imagine if there was like 8 more zealots on top of that, right? Like, how much stronger would it actually have been? It does look like the Robo is now finished. Nothing has been produced from the Robo just yet. +2 weapons is actually coming. It does look like it's going to be a Blink Stalker build, since we do have Blink already on the way. A lot of drones here on Guitarcheese's third base, just long distance mining. So he does have a pretty good economy once that third base does come back up and running. But the question is the damage already too great? You know, is that third base already being killed for this long is going to put him that far behind?
I'm not so sure about it. You know, Blink is good, and Immortals are good, but I think the time horizon to really take advantage of them is going to disappear soon. Because Guitarcheese he's definitely got a decent economy going, and now that the third is done, you know, he's got layer up. He can continue to make more roaches, or he can put down some gas, which he has, and go hydras, and I think he'll be okay.
Well, I'm super confused by this third base play. It did not look like it was going to be a 3-base type of build at all.
Yeah.
All the signs said that it was going to be a 2-base because, I mean, he added extra gateways. He started a really fast blink. He was going for a fast +2. And then he throws down a third base. So, really confusing play here from our Protoss player.
Ooh, tunneling claws. This will be fun.
Yeah, they're always really fun to watch. The new buff made them really entertaining. Even if they're still not good, they're at least entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does look like Zerg broke down those back rocks going into Serenity's third base, but he actually didn't even poke in there. Did he see the third base? He did see it, but he decided to wait for more reinforcements before trying to attack anywhere.
And that is a lot of roaches running around there.
It is a lot of roaches. We do already have an observer on Serenity's side, though, so that tunneling claws, it's going to help him get under the force fields, but he's still going to be taking damage while that's happening.
And in the meantime, behind this, he's actually building a spire, so we're probably going to see a Mutilus transition.
Yeah, I think that's really smart. One thing I wish we saw a little bit more from Serenity is using some of that extra energy he has on his sentries to make some hallucinated phoenixes and really scout out what his opponent's doing. I think that would make this all the better.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think I've ever seen Serenity do that. That would definitely help him.
Yep, tunneling claws is done. It looks like he's trying to split up his roach link from 2 sides. The force fields do go down, but here's where the tunneling claws really can pay for themselves, and there it is. They're able to run through there. Oh, is he going to focus on the Immortals? It does look like he focused on the Immortals, and the first Immortal does go down. The second Immortal's ended. These force fields aren't doing anything, and now Protoss looks dead.
Yeah, he's absolutely dead, because behind this is 12 Mutilus.
Yeah, it's like if you thought it wasn't bad enough now, just wait till 12 Mutilus and more Mutas get on the field. Now,
Yeah.
15 Mutas.
Yeah, I honestly think Serenity got a little too ambitious when he took down that third. I think he should have taken it down and gotten out of there. I think that would have been much stronger.
Yeah, it definitely would have put him in a better. But right now, I don't think there's a chance he has, because the only real way to combat Muta play is by getting Phoenixes. I mean, Phoenixes are the ultimate counter to the Muta style, but there's no starports or there's no answer.
way.
I mean, Blink Stalkers are great, but you have to have a really high number of Blink Stalkers to deal with just constant Muta. You know, so I mean, even if he acquired a massive army, Zerg could just go into a base trade all day just because he has so much more that Protoss would have to kill.
Yeah, absolutely. And behind this, not only is it Mutas, who's got a huge number of Zerglings to run in, and also he's still got most of his roaches left.
Yeah. I mean, 79 drones doesn't hurt either. Like 4 base
Well,
economy,
yeah.
79 drones. Yeah, he pretty much could do anything he wanted at this point.
So this is interesting. I was kind of expecting the Guitarcheese to capitalize on the fact that he had a missile attack upgrades and just continue down that path and make Hydralisk, but he's like, nope, I'm just going to push with all these roaches and follow the Mutalisks, and I don't think you can deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty common strategy, to be honest, where you apply pressure, you like try to make as much army as possible and as early as possible, and apply pressure to make them react, right? Because they can't throw down star reports and then live through this type of build, right? They can't just instantly go Phoenixes. So it's a smart type of play and strategy. It does look like more burrowed roach shenanigans going on. I don't know what he's doing. I'm expecting him to dance any second now. Muta's been doing a great job in the main. So I mean, Protoss's economy is pretty much in shambles right now, and more units are just being produced here from our Zerg player.
Yeah, I mean, Serenity's doing a great job of fighting with what he's got, but in the end, yeah. GG.
Yep, GG. So that is 1-0 for the Zerg player.
And wow, Guitarcheese is not the fastest Zerg player I've ever seen.
I didn't even look. What was it?
178 over an 18-minute game.
Yeah, it's not that fast. I'd probably say average for like a GM Zerg on North America would be like 200.
Yeah,
I'd say it's
exactly.
probably average. Zerg requires a lot of APM of just cycling through bases and injecting and stuff like that, which creates a lot of actions.
Yeah, even the inject spike alone is like a few hundred APM for half a second. It's pretty impressive.
It is quite impressive.
So, do you play Zerg?
I do play Zerg.
So, what is your preferred inject style? Do you like to use camera hotkeys? Do you like to use queen hotkeys, or old Korean style of hotkeying each hatchery separately?
I used location hotkeys, so like F keys.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there's lots of different ways. I think that's the best way at the highest level because it's the most accurate, right? Like if you do the backspace method or whatever, a lot of times you have your queens just running around everywhere and they're not doing anything, or you'll have like 3 queens that all go to the same hatchery to inject it. So instead of having one of those scenarios happen, because that's how I started off, and then I realized that there's a better way of doing it.
Yeah, I've never really took the backspace method seriously. I've always preferred the camera hotkeys, and then I actually, personally, I use caps lock to center. So when I first actually bind the hatches, I hit caps lock, and then I control my location key so that all the hatches are centered right on the screen. And then it's, you can literally just keep the mouse in the same spot when you're doing your injects.
Yeah, yeah, I actually use spacebar for my centering. So spacebar centers.
There you go. Yeah, I'm weird. I actually use spacebar for my hatchery hotkey, and also for my my command centers.
I don't even know how that works.
Hey man, the thumb is a great.
So it's like instead of 4, it would be like spacebar.
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
Go to your bases. Interesting. Yep. All right, this is definitely a Protoss map pick. There's no doubt about it. No Zerg in their right mind would ever pick Aculon Wastes. In fact, I'm really sad to actually see I have to cast on this map because a lot of times games can go a really long time on this map.
Yeah, they
I
can.
think the longest game ever recorded was actually on this map. I think it was Fire Cake versus Mana.
And how long was that?
3 hours and 50 minutes or so.
Oh, that's crazy. I mean, how do you not mine out after 2 hours?
Oh, they were mined out. That wasn't the question. They just didn't want to engage each other. So just imagine like 8 Colossi with like killing Locust for hours.
Oh, I
that
see.
Kind of sums
Okay.
it up.
Yeah, so he had the critical mass of Colossi to deal with the Locusts. I got you.
Right.
We actually we casted a game minigun from Root versus Krios, and the first match was about an hour long on this map, and it was amazing because it literally came down to I think Krios was maybe a few corruptors short of winning the game. Like he was dominating, and then it just ended up going so long that he kind of lost, control of the composition, and the composition kind of slipped. And if he had just had like literally a few more corruptors, he would have ended up winning a game that he had pretty much dominated the whole game.
Wow.
But it was a very interesting long game that we just recently had on Fight Night.
Those are the entertaining games. Now, when they can go to a point where they're not entertaining anymore, they're just repetitive,
Yeah.
But
No, this is definitely not that. I mean, it had a Protoss
a lot of back and forth action until there was no minerals left. Yeah, those are the best of games. Those are
stealing each other's bases and things like that. Yes, it was pretty good.
Awesome. I'm still waiting for like in a pro game to where Zerg can actually utilize like neural parasiting a worker and building like a nexus or something. I'm still waiting for that day to happen. It will happen. I know it will. It's just a matter of time.
That's everyone's dream, is a neural parasited alternate race, but I'm not sure it's really going to happen. I think you would have to so dominate somebody to pull it off.
It actually could happen if you think of it. The fact, like, think of any game where it goes really long with Terran or Protoss. They always start sacking their workers, and I just want to see as like a worker is coming to suicide in on a spine crawler or something, like a infestor just neurals it and makes a nexus. Like that's all I'm waiting for. Like it's not an impossible scenario. It's an unlikely one, but it's gonna be my lifelong dream. I'm gonna do it in every tournament. Eventually, I'll win one game using it, and I'll make my mark in history.
You'll just have that standby infestor on its own special hotkey, just in case.
Exactly. He'll be number 0, and I'll just be waiting. Eventually, they're gonna want to make more tanks, and when they do. I'm going to make tanks also.
Exactly. That would be amazing.
I wonder how many neurals it actually takes to make a command center, though. Like, probably like 15 or something.
Yeah.
It would take a lot. A nexus wouldn't be bad, because you just make it and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's go get into the game a little bit. It does look like Zerg. We have a very standard opening. He, again, went for the really fast Zergling speed. He also went for the really fast third queen. We do have a Zealot and Stalker over here poking around. It does look like the queen is being focused down. I actually don't like that as much as if he was focusing down some of the drones, because even if he gets that queen, it's not like the end of the world. It doesn't put him that far behind, because usually players always make a backup, like a third queen, to start creep spreading really early if they don't take a fast third base. So yes, he killed that, but he actually didn't miss an inject or anything. To where if he would have killed some drones, it would have hampered his his mid game and stuff.
Yeah,
like
if anything,
are apt this week, Stalker.
Wow.
Yeah, that Stalker's dead.
And now suddenly that wasn't worth it.
No, not at all.
On account of that alone.
Another Stalker. Oh
Ouch,
my god,
no.
This actually could be just game. Yeah, this is just the end of the game.
Yeah, pretty much.
That was definitely a anticlimactic finish to that game. It's like, up, Zergling speed, finish the end. Like,
I think this is becoming a recurring theme now. Is overzealousness, overcommittal a little bit.
Yeah, he definitely likes to commit a lot to stuff that's not supposed to be a lot, right? Like even that Zealot attack he did in the first game, it was able to accomplish what he wanted, and then is happy with that, he stuck around, right? And it put him in a bad spot. And the same for this time. Like, he should have seen, he could have picked off a drone or two and then just backed up, right? Instead of staying there till, all these extra Zerglings and stuff popped, and then the inevitable pretty much killed him.
Surprising. All right.
Yeah,
so the next, unsurprisingly, the next game is going to be on Derelict.
Yeah, I don't know how Protoss feels about that map. I feel like it's a pretty good Zerg map. It's very wide open. It's really hard for Protoss to utilize force fields, which is what they do in every matchup, so it makes it a little bit difficult for them.
On the other hand, for some of you cheesier players, Derelict is one of the Cannon Rusher's dream maps. because there's so much
That's
space.
true. That's true. Also, who was it that found like the holy grail of cannon rush locations on this map? Which Protoss was it? It was at the finals, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
Of
so. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I actually drew a blank. Wasn't it SOS who won the finals?
Yeah, yeah.
I put you on
think
the
so.
spot a lot, don't I?
Well, it's fine, man. You watch hundreds of games, and yeah, it's hard to remember which game you saw something.
It's true. It's very true.
Like I don't know how some of these people like Apollo and some of these other top casters they can actually recall. Yeah, there's this one game. I mean, they must sit there and like
Probably
have
'cause
little
they
flashcards
casted
or
it.
something.
It'd probably be easier to remember something that you casted.
Yeah. Well, you would think so, except I'm one of those people who's pretty absent-minded even when he's casting. It's like,
That's true.
oh yeah, oh that's right, I did cast him last week. It's like really, man, weren't you there?
Very true. So we are on match point here for Guitarcheese. So one more win and he is it is fini. It is over.
Yeah, no. Remember these games. There's really nothing on the line except for pride. So we may
That's
or
a
may not
lot
see
to
something
start
very
pressing.
cheeky. Well, of course it is. But anybody who's a regular here with Team Gravity knows that Serenity is a very strong player, and everybody has their down days. Everybody.
That is absolutely true. Some days you have it. Some days you just can't get it flowing.
Thought you were gonna say something else, but yes.
No, that was it. It's true. Like I've played a lot of times, and some days it's like I could get on the ladder, and it's just like no matter what I do, it feels like I'm just off that day, and nothing happens and goes how I plan it. And then some days it's the exact opposite, and everything kind of connects. I feel like that's actually one of the indicators of like people that win like all these big tournaments. And I don't mean like a 16-man invitational. I'm talking about like, back when MLG was having tournaments and there'd be just, 256 people thrown into an open bracket, right? Like the people who came out and won that tournament, I just feel like those were the people that they were spot on that weekend, right? Whether they were the better player or, that same scenario would happen again. I just feel like they had the better day or the better weekend.
Yeah, that's people always, that comes up a lot actually. Is, was that person just lucky? Like, why is it that, for instance, GSL has been so contested? Like, there's never been a Gosu like there was in StarCraft 1. I mean, of course there was in the very beginning, but, once StarCraft 2 actually people started to figure it out a little bit, like, there's really not been that player who's always on top. Is it just because that every time the person who wins is just having a good week? Did they just train a little bit harder that time around?
Right.
It's kind of an interesting phenomena, I think. Because it's so much different than StarCraft 1.
It is definitely different than StarCraft 1, no doubt about it. StarCraft 1's always had, just a person through any era of StarCraft 1 almost that dominated, right?
Right.
So, and we really haven't seen that in StarCraft 2. And I'm wondering if it's actually that, it's not enough like micro-oriented opportunities that the players actually get.
There was a thread on Reddit where somebody he posted like a wall of text and he was analyzing all of that, and he's like, look, I think the problem is there's just not enough micro. That once your death ball composition has been created, it's basically, of course, it's not an A move. I mean, only
Right.
Amateurs think it's an A move, but it's still, you're kind of at the mercy of what your attack command is going to cause to happen. Once you've created your flanks and you've created your concave, you're kind of like, okay, now let's just see what happens. You basically know ahead of time based on the composition who's going to win. It's not going to be, well, because I microed this stalker so much better, I turned the battle around that I shouldn't have. And that opportunity existed a lot more in StarCraft 1.
Right. I mean, it's still in StarCraft 2. It's just it's toned down a lot, I would say. Looking at this game though, since we do have Zerglings like running across the map right now, we have the exact same build from Guitarcheese. So he has opened the same way all 3 games. which is as I mentioned and talked about earlier, I mentioned that he was a very like macro and standard oriented player, despite his name, and so that's exactly what we have here. It does look like this time Serenity's not going to be the aggressor super early on. He's just like, you know what? Every time I move out, I end up falling behind or dying. So I'm just going to make my forge, make my wall off. I'll probably throw down a cannon. There we go. And just be safe and go into a macro game. We do have a super fast Twilight Council though, so yeah, it's a Dark Shrine. So now Protoss is throwing down their big guns. It's time for the infamous win behind Dark Shrine strategy.
Indeed. And of course, you know, after it was buffed a long time ago now at this point, it's not quite as all in and committal to put down a Dark Shrine, even though it's definitely, you're on a path when you put that shrine down.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a strong opening, and it's a great opening to use in a best of 3. The question is, will Guitarcheese be ready for it? Now, none of these games we've actually seen him throw down a Spore Crawler preemptively just to be safe, which is what a lot of players do, especially in ladder and stuff, because you almost have to. If you don't, then you're playing with fire. It's so easy just to DT show up and then the game ends. And we don't have anything, any spores or anything yet coming out for Guitarcheese. The lair has been started, but the DTs would hit way before that lair and Overseer finish. So the question is, can he read it? Can he get a good scout? Doesn't look like the Overlord is moving in or anything at this point.
I'm looking across the map. I don't see any forward pylons here. Am I missing one? Because this purple on top of the creep is hard.
He's warping him almost right outside his base, so this is actually really dangerous because attacking with the Mothership Core alerted him to look at the Zerglings and then saw the Dark Templar. So he actually just shot himself in the foot by doing that.
Yeah, spores going down all 3 bases.
So spores are now being thrown down. He's completely aware of what's happening, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to. Yeah.
I mean, they're still getting into the bases, but there is queens there, and you know, this will be a little bit of damage, but nothing just game-ending.
No, I see a few drones die, but
yeah, few is right. Not many at all. That was, you know, 6 workers. I don't know. That's not the. That's not what I would hope for if I was opening Dark Templars. 6 kills.
No, definitely not.
Did force anything special out of him, like extra spines or anything like that?
Now the question is did those DTs give him enough time to establish this 3rd safely?
It's possible, but can he? You know, with Dark Templar tech, there is no way to really utilize that to where it's going to make you defend stronger. Like if you opened, let's say, Warp Prism, well, then he could just transition into Immortals, for example, right? So how can he hold this 3rd base? Is he going to have Blink Stalkers in time? Or something like that? Because if these Roaches, you know, and Zerglings get up on just regular gateway units, then it could be a really big ordeal, especially on this map, because force fields don't work as strong.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the biggest things about Derelict is the ability to bifurcate the natural and the 3rd. And once that happens, there's no way to defend your 3rd. And if Zerg is able to get in there and split them in half, then...
Yeah, we do have the first Immortal on the way. Also, the Mothership Core somehow scared all these Roaches back, which is more than what he wanted. Yeah,
I'm actually kind of surprised to see the retreat here. I think the supply is high enough for Guitarcheese that he could have pressed the issue and made something happen.
Yeah, I definitely think he could have continued to be aggressive. We do have the Hydralisk Den up, though. He's just going to play it really safe. I think Roach Hydra is stronger than just pure Roach on this map. Just because of how wide open it is, you can get a really good concave with a Roach Hydra attack, and it's super strong. So let's see if he decides to do that, or if he's just going to continue pumping out more and more Roaches.
And since you know Guitarcheese, what would the Infestation Pit suggest to you?
He's probably just going to go straight to high for like quick Vipers.
Okay. Actually,
we're not going to even get to that point. These Roaches are doing insane amounts of work. However, the Immortal does slip past. He does survive. The question is how is he going to defend that third base? It almost seems like he can just constantly keep reproducing here at this point and just keep bullying Protoss around.
Yeah, and I don't think one Immortal is going to be quite enough.
Yeah, he is chrono boosting another, but it is it's definitely not out in time. However, Blink has just finished, so now he is able to use that Blink and salvage all these weak Stalkers. So this is going to be enough to hold him for a little bit at least.
You know, I saw Guitarcheese. He didn't actually target the Immortal the first few volleys.
Yeah, he was probably just doing the old macro thing. Wasn't even looking.
And it kind of gave that Immortal a little more time than it should have had.
Yeah, definitely got a lot more shots off than it deserved to get. Protoss is hovering at a lot of minerals and a lot of gas. He actually has enough economy for a couple more gateways, to be honest.
Yeah, and now that the third base is firmly established and he's held it, it's time to start taking advantage of it.
Yeah, we need like Colossus to be produced. We need something. We need other options thrown our way.
And interestingly, we're seeing Infestor, which, you know, given the number of gateway units there are, I guess that's not that bad of an idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's
there's
not
no need
bad.
for Hydra yet, because there's no Colossi out, but... Or, excuse me, Viper, sorry, is what I meant.
Right. There is no reason to go Viper. And, you know, a couple Infestors is pretty good for Walker armies, because they can't blink while they're fungled, right? So it kind of holds them in place and stops them from being able to be the one microing. We do have a maxed out Zerg versus a 140 supply Protoss. The Protoss army is pretty scary with the 3 Immortals in it, however, so it's really going to come down to how it happens. Wow, a really good fungal catching all the sentries, and now we have the Roaches actually burrowing, trying to get even closer in the action. I don't even know which way this fight's going. It does look like that Zerg's reinforcements are continuing to come. All the Immortals except one have been picked off. It does look like the last Immortal might be falling here in a second. Yeah, it's been a pretty even trade. The question is, can Protoss keep up with the production of Zerg at the moment?
Well, if we look at it, he's got 7 gates, which honestly is, I think, a little bit low now to be on a fully established 3-base economy with only 1 robo. So, I don't know.
Also, he hasn't been upgrading. Protoss stopped upgrading after 2 for some reason, and he could have. I mean, it's been a long time. He could have +3 weapons done by now, and he kind of neglected that. Also, it does look like Zerg is running back up here. He left the Immortal in front, which instantly gets picked off. These Blink Stalkers better micro like gods to be able to win this battle. In fact, he just tries to pick off the Overseer. Now DTs are warping in. These DTs don't. There is no vision to stop these DTs, so. These DTs will eventually clean up this army. However, the damage is like so far and gone.
Wow. And these DTs should not have been this successful.
Yep. The Blink Stalkers blinked right underneath the entire army just to pick off the Overseer. So it was a really smart play. And I mean, yes, these DTs are doing work, but yeah, we're talking about 65 supply Protoss right now.
Yeah, I mean, with quadruple the army supply right now, the Zerg has really got nothing to worry about.
Yep, definitely. Looks like we're going to have a 3-0 in our first show match.
And this is pretty impressive. Normally, Serenity he's a boss. Like, he comes in and his 2 bases clean house, but Guitarcheese is not having any of it. He's just strongholds and push when he's ready. You know, he's in no rush to win the game. He's just winning properly.
Yep. I mean, he's just doing the thing up. Protoss is dancing. That's when you know the game's over. And that's it. GG.